Welcome to The Leadership, a business-focused talk show brought to you by the Vested Group.
We talk to entrepreneurs, employees, thought leaders, innovators, dreamers, disruptors,
and even our own children about what makes us tick on and off the clock.
Welcome to a new edition of the Leadership Talk Show brought to you by the Vested Group. If you'd like to find out more about us, you can check us out at thevested.com. My name's Hillary Patterson, and this is my co-host, Johnny Zielinski. And we are very fortunate today to have Casey Andrews with us, who's been around for a very long time. Tell us, go back to how did you get started up at the TVG?
So my brother, Rustin, actually worked with Joel at Arthur Andersen back in the day. And so they had met, and then he also worked at Lucidity. So when Joel started the Vested Group, he was looking for new employees. And so Rustin had said, hey, go talk to Joel and see if that's going to be a fit. And so that was, 8 years ago?
So you paged him?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Put up the Joel symbol.
I didn't know Rustin worked at Arthur Andersen. That's funny.
That's
Doesn't seem like he's old enough to have been there.
No, just kidding, yeah.
He was there the last day, maybe. Yeah.
Maybe.
The consulting firm gets thrown around a lot, I think, amongst a lot of our employees that we have, Arthur Andersen. So.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, tell us about your family, like your siblings, where you grew up, like a little bit more about you.
So I do have the older brother, Rustin, who is, he's 4 years older than me. And both my parents, all four of us, all live here in Dallas now. But we grew up in Farmington, New Mexico, which is a small town in the northwest corner of New Mexico, like 60,000 people or fewer, actually, when we were there.
Was it near Ross? Did you know he was in New Mexico?
Yeah, so Ross is a little bit more south central.
Okay.
But and maybe even closer to the east. It's hard to remember.
I automatically assumed that if you were from the same state that you know each
Yeah,
other.
well, New Mexico, there's a better chance, at least.
Absolutely.
There's
There's 7 million people in the entire state, and I think there's over 7 million in the DFW metro area.
So you guys grew up together. Cool.
Basically.
Yeah, we did grow up, I'm sure, with the same area code, since there was only one in the entire state of New Mexico until I was about 18 or 19.
That's it.
So now there's two.
Enchanting.
Right.
And so you played a lot of baseball, too.
I did, yeah. So I grew up playing baseball. Ever since I was, I think, like 3 or 4 years old, I started, and then played all the way through college, and unfortunately had a career-ending injury in college, or else I would have gone all the way. Mm-hmm. That's what I continuously tell myself. But
it's true. It's 100% true.
Casey Andrews, that sounds like a baseball name.
Right? Casey at the bat, right? It's
Yeah.
a classic story. Except he strikes out, which...
No. Oh. Yeah. Anyway, so we have to always ask everybody, how would you describe what you do? And then how would your mother describe what you do?
So I would describe what I do as I work with clients, our internal consultants, and NetSuite to create solutions or products that basically enhance the functionality of NetSuite. And we offer that as a service, and so we sell those. Now, my parents, they would get the NetSuite part right, but they would probably think that I'm writing code more often than not, and it's still a mystery, even though my brother was also a consultant. So, and then Joy, she would get it on the head. She would say he's in product management for, NetSuite, and he's been doing it for years. So she's pretty good about that.
So not the printer. It's always a plus.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do get a lot of tech support questions like, "Hey, I can't get this thing to work. Can you look at it?" And I think that's just a thing that always happens in our industry.
It's just inevitable. I get a phone call from a friend or family member. Oh, you work with computers. Can you help me fix my printer?
Although I do have to say, you are the resident printer.
Yeah, I know. The irony is not lost on me. So
I always send everybody your way. So
yeah, unfortunate.
I actually got asked this week. So now that you mention it. So Casey, why do you come to work?
Well, it is 100% the culture. So the people that work at the Vested Group are some of the best people ever. It's just a fun and awesome place where everybody seems to, number one, want to be there, but also are qualified to be there, which is fantastic. Mm-hmm. So you go to a place that has a bunch of people that are happy and that are extremely competent and ready to serve our customers well. So that gets me out of bed every morning. And plus, the company itself has been so amazing. I went through some pretty crazy health issues within the last couple of years, and I couldn't have asked for better support from Hillary and the directors. It was fantastic. They actually the directors flew up to Wisconsin where I was to visit me in the hospital. So every time I tell that story, like, people are shocked to find out that the founders of our company were up there. So it's just another thing. Like, you guys have devoted a lot to me, so I feel like I owe it to you to do good things.
And you made an amazing recovery too. So.
And you have to think about the effect that like seeing like that kind of demonstration from leadership to like come up there and do that for you like makes the rest of us who weren't in that position also feel really good.
I would have words with anybody that doesn't think that, because I mean, with all the uncertainty, especially with health, that's the last thing that you want to worry about. And it was just so nice to have the backing from your boss, and from everybody at your place of work, that it was insane. It made the whole process much less stressful.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I really would tell anybody that they should think twice about saying a bad word or anything like that about the Vesta Group.
It's one of the best why do you come to work we've had. So
Yeah,
far.
that's good.
But the people is
Good.
common.
Right. We do have great people.
Awesome. So you may have already hit on this too, but what did you want to be when you were a kid?
So I did want to be a professional baseball player. That was a thing that actually, until my injury, that's what I thought I was going to do. So to nobody's surprise, I was kind of lost when that didn't happen. But my backup plan was, even though I didn't go to school for it, was to be an Egyptologist when I was a kid. And I loved just ancient cultures, and I always found it fascinating. Like, how did they build those pyramids and all of the crazy structures with no power tools or nothing, anything?
Did you say Egyptologist?
I think that's a term, isn't it?
I didn't know it was. I didn't realize it was like specific to Egypt. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like there's.
I think
yeah.
that's true.
okay, well, I'm learning something new today. That's fine. Hopefully not everybody knew that who's watching. So
Oh, yeah. But I mean, that is our first Egyptologist.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna bet that we're not gonna have another one. I
He
feel
mixed
confident.
sports in there. He mixed sports in there, so it's not completely past the trend. He said baseball player, but
True.
we usually get medicine or sports. So
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, that's impressive though.
So how long have you been at the Vesta Group now?
So I just celebrated my 8th year anniversary.
It's a long one. You've been there longer than Hannah?
Yes.
Okay.
So I started, I think I was employee like maybe 6 or 7 or something like that.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
And so I've seen, the shell building, which was an awesome, hilarious experience. And then even the time when we were underneath Rio, and then the 15th Street office. So this is the 4th office that I've been through.
So yeah, you've seen that entire stage.
Yes.
Days
Yeah.
ago.
From
Yeah.
basically very small to where everybody was involved in all of the implementations, including our directors, and they were writing code, and to now where we have clear,
Like different
defined
jobs, yeah.
roles. Yeah, it's amazing.
I was about to do a little caterpillar to butterfly reference, but I'm going to let it pass. The reason I asked was, what's your favorite workplace tradition?
So I think one thing that differentiates the Vesta Group from other companies is, celebration in our local scenarios, like Rangers opening day. Being a baseball fan, and that was my lifelong passion, I love the fact that we take a holiday for Rangers opening day. So that always, to me, even though we didn't get to celebrate it this year, but this year's kind of one of those weird off years, but that's my favorite. Second would be the Halloween costume contest, solely because it seems like everybody goes pretty hard on that contest, and
More popular for sure.
Yeah.
and that terrible picture that still plagues Slack channels and emails where
Poor choices. Yeah.
although
Or
it did
maybe-
win me a
I was
$100
thinking-
gift
yeah, I was
card.
saying maybe it was a good choice, right?
But yeah, so those are definitely my favorite.
Well, yeah, no, Mike Pope apparently has a Jack Sparrow costume, so
Ooh.
trying to peel that out of him.
That
Wow.
would be awesome.
Yeah, that's good. I'll have to get some. Maybe I can get Joel to wear the Santa costume up one day for the Halloween.
I think that would be brilliant.
Yeah, he'd sweat to death in it, but it would be worth it, I think. So, what is something else that you wish people knew about you?
So I was thinking about this, and I think that just due to the fact that I've been around for a while, there's probably not too much that people don't know about me. I'm kind of an open book when it comes to being ridiculous or whatever, but I can say that I do have this weird thing about pronouncing certain words incorrectly. So I think, it's kind of ties into the embarrassing question, right? But for years I thought chamomile was pronounced chamomile.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Nobody corrected me, by the way. So
They're like, wow, that sounds fancy.
and it wasn't.
That's not
I-
a difference
I
either.
know.
I'm like, it's French. Sure, chamomile.
They
That
probably
works.
didn't know what you're talking about. It's like,
Exactly.
yeah.
So many people
Chamomile.
nodded and never corrected. They were like, I don't know what he's talking about. But yeah, that was so. chances are if I say something incorrectly, it's because I believe that that's the pronunciation.
No wonder you called him out on Egyptologist.
Right.
Like, I'm going to have to, yeah.
Clever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I laughed really harder than I should.
Oh, it's
Oh
funny.
my.
I just never could have seen that coming.
It's impressive, though.
It is quite funny.
Pass the shmomale, please.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, what do you enjoy doing when you're not at work?
So I do love the outdoors, and being from Northwest New Mexico, we had access to mountains and rivers and all of that. And so that's kind of where my heart lies outside of, just work. But also we play sand volleyball every week. And when I'm not doing those things, then I spend a lot of time in the garage doing woodworking stuff.
Oh, cool.
So mostly art stuff, and I just got into spoon carving, which has been quite interesting.
One of my favorite things to do.
Right? I know.
Yeah.
It's I found out, well, I've known that I'm part Swedish. And so that's a huge thing with the Swedes, apparently. And so
Spoon carving.
Spoon carving, yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
You embrace the culture, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Really
So
wish
I'm
you had
going
brought
back
one of
to my
those with
Swedish
you.
roots.
Yeah, I
What?
know.
Oh, I know. I should have.
should have asked you
Like we
before.
could have a whole spoon collection at the office too.
glad that you
Different
asked.
sizes,
Right.
different
Oh.
functions. Yeah. I think you need this one actually. Yeah.
Okay.
Unsheath the spoon.
Interesting. I'm going to follow up with you on that after
Yeah.
the interview.
They are for sale.
So yeah, exactly. Buy Christmas presents.
See you right around the corner.
Exactly. So okay, another random one. What would you say is the funniest thing that's happened to you recently?
So I was thinking about this, and unfortunately nothing comes to mind. So that typically would mean that I'm probably due for something ridiculous to happen to me. And so I'm going to be walking around extra cautiously to make sure that nothing crazy happens. But yeah, thankfully it's been pretty good.
Yeah? Pretty calm, huh?
COVID, less opportunities to embarrass
That's it.
ourselves. Yeah.
Okay, so that being said, you're walking around all cautiously like you were just talking about, and you walk outside this office after the interview, and you find a lottery ticket for $15 million on the
Yeah.
ground. You won. It's your money. What are you going to do with all of that money?
So 15 million, huh?
That's the number.
I think that probably would split that into, it's easy, so 3 ways. Take probably the first 5 and see what I could get as far as partnership within the vested group with Joel,
Okay.
contingent on a couple weeks off, perhaps, to enjoy this newfound fortune.
Carve
And then-
some spoons.
Right. Oh, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
Yeah, I would have a large spoon carving workshop. And then probably another 5 I would take and invest.
Okay.
So do that, and then 5 I would spend for fun. Probably go someplace, maybe Egypt.
Yeah, maybe Egypt.
Maybe see the
You can
pyramids
definitely
finally.
see that
Right.
chamber,
Yes.
yeah,
For 5 million,
yeah.
I'm sure that I could get a behind-the-scenes tour.
Real quick.
Why help a bunch?
5. All right, checks out. You spent all 15.
That's
You're
good.
good. You're good.
But it is funny. I don't know about you guys, but it seems like if I did get such a large sum, and this has been the case with my whole life, like the more money I would get, the harder it is to spend. Like I wouldn't want to spend that. I'd be like, like I don't know.
Yep.
Maybe just me.
Maybe you're saying that you wouldn't want to just because it's harder to find things that you want to buy.
Well, not even that. I would just say, like, look at all this money. I love looking at this
Imagine,
money.
was it?
Roll around on your bed. I
Right.
think somebody
So
else is
that's
going to
why-
do that too, right? Roll around on it in their bed.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
or
Like Scrooge McDuck.
I was just
Yeah,
about to say Scrooge
exactly.
McDuck diving into the.
That's why I would immediately try to invest 10 of it, so I would only have a smaller pool to play in.
I think there's a number though. I don't know it's like 45,000 or something like that, where you just don't get any
Right.
more happiness. Like I don't know if that's
Diminished
inflation.
returns, right?
Yeah, I kind of
Yeah.
think I don't know what the number is right now, but it's that you just don't. You have the things that you need, and so you don't get that much happiness out of acquiring something.
Yeah, I think it was like 70,000 or something
Maybe,
like that
yeah.
a year,
Interesting.
which is it's awesome. Mo
So you
money,
could
mo
be
problems.
Home free. 15 million does seem like a lot.
It
Like,
does.
You could do a lot.
Maybe I'm just really creative. But,
Could you break it down like an itemized penny by penny
I
scenario?
could really easily. Depends on how much time we have for the interview. But
That's in his interview later. All right. So if you could pick one song to play every time you entered a room, what would it be?
So this one is hard for sure because in baseball we have walkout songs.
That's
Exactly,
great.
yeah.
You picked
So-
one already. Yeah.
And I've had several over my career, but thinking about what you would want to hear every time you walked into a room would be very difficult. So you'd think like, oh, maybe classic rock, something I've heard a million times, or something funny. But all of that probably would get pretty annoying. So the opening sequence to George Thorogood's masterpiece, Bad to the Bone,
oh yeah.
I think would be a pretty good way to walk into a room. Exactly.
Or you could do like the earworm kind of thing, you know?
Yes.
Like who let the dogs out? Just a dry, you know, like people wouldn't be able to get it out of their head. That's
Right.
kind
They're
of
like, oh, Casey's
would leave
coming
a mark,
again.
you know?
Earplugs.
You have to wonder how, you know, one person's like, oh, I forgot something, comes back in the room, it's just
Oh.
some, you know, baby shark, whatever. Something
Right.
really-
Exactly.
Yes, Joy would hate that because I do. What is it? There's like some sort of thing where if you were trying to remember something and then you walk through a doorway. Have you ever heard of this?
Yeah, yeah.
And you forget. So I've done that a million times. Walked into the kitchen, forgot. Walked out. Walked in,
One of
forgot.
the many excuses are why we're all losing our minds. Oh,
Right.
Like it's a doorway, yeah.
Yeah, I've been there.
Blaming inanimate objects.
Happened to me over the weekend, actually. If you were our CEO tomorrow, what would you do as the first thing?
He just bought in with his $5 million.
Yeah.
So boom, what are you gonna do?
True.
So you don't have to buy it anymore.
So, despite the fact that I think our directors have done a stellar job and will continue to do a stellar job, I don't think that I would do much differently from them. But I think the first act would be TVG branded sweatsuits for work from home, or maybe the onesie.
I really like that.
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, you might be able to make that happen.
Yeah, I
Actually.
mean, I'm not
Yeah.
sure what if they're planning on doing, like, you know, like we got the Patagonias, the report and the vest and stuff like that. Yeah, I like the sweat.
You know what you could do is get like the onesie, but like have it look like official clothing at the
And
top
that's
or
what,
something.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was
yeah.
like the polo
Collared.
top, and then it goes into like the sweat shorts.
Yeah, the collared onesie. I love it.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Yeah, well,
But-
that is a major change, so that would be fantastic.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that was a good answer.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, well, Casey, we really appreciate you coming out here today, giving us some of your time, spend the afternoon with us. So thank you for the great interview.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming out. Hanging out for so long. 8 years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You can see more of our interviews at YouTube. Just search The Vested Group or check out more about who we are at thevested.com. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.